and as of the zero tolerance in MMPS schools, I was kicked out for a calendar year. I appealed it and I was kicked out for 6 weeks, and I was able to return back to a troubled high school or a transition school where I received my education to become a senior now with behavior students, and I just didn't like the way that I was placed. Like, it wasn't right. It was like they moved me from being a IB honor student to taking standard classes.
Do you find, Ms. Fatuga, her story familiar in terms of these transitional schools and transitional kind of situation? And say something in reference to that.
It's very familiar. There are a lot of students who have infractions, and instead of them being dealt with in the classroom or even in the office, they're pushed out of schools, pushed into from expulsions, suspensions to alternative schools. I do know that Metro Public Schools is working on their alternative school program, and I want to acknowledge the work that they are doing and the support that they've even given to Gideon's Army as we get out in the community and do the work. However, right now there is an issue, and it's a national issue. It's not just Metro Public Schools, it's not just the state of Tennessee, but nationally there's an issue with zero tolerance where our students are being pushed out for a lot of reasons that are ridiculous, and they are not consistent across race. They're not consistent across the school districts, even across schools, even as it's dealt with from teacher to teacher. What the research does say is that kids are funneled out of the classroom and into the office at an unfair rate. And once they get to the office, it's pretty consistent how they're suspended and expelled. However, we know that this definitely affects Black children, especially Black males, more than any other demographic. And that's when you control for behavior, for socioeconomic status. So it doesn't necessarily matter what they've done or what their economic status is. It's still very racially biased, and it's not necessarily white teachers doing this to Black children. It's just an issue where our boys are being funneled out of the school. In this case, Mashirka was caught up in that same system, which is unfortunate. Like she said, she was an IB student. I was involved at that time. I looked through the accounts that other students had written where they said she did not do it, or she tried to stop the fight, that it had nothing to do with her, and still they wanted to suspend her for a calendar year, and she would have been suspended for a calendar year had we not appealed it. And even with the appeal, we got a 6 weeks, and I think we really should have taken it to one more level, but you know, that's parental decision.
Do you find that that is general, the suspension for that period of time, for a calendar year, and how detrimental from your own experiences can that be to a student?
Suspending a student for any amount of time, expulsions, it's proven to be ineffective. Research says it is the most ineffective form of discipline in schools, and yet it's the most widely used. And we've known that since, I think, one of the first studies was done by the Children's Defense Fund in 1975. So we've known this for a long time, but you know, resistance to change from the system, even resistance to change from the community, because it's what we're familiar with. So a lot of times we say, well, these kids are bad. We need to just get rid of the kids who are causing trouble. But people don't look at things from a systemic perspective, understanding that everybody is functioning within this system the way the system